Hello, and welcome. Let's begin with a reality that many of us know all too well. It's the quiet worry that comes with a number, the number on a blood pressure cuff. For millions of Americans, especially as we move past the age of 60, managing that number can feel like a constant, low-grade battle. It's a source of daily concern, a number that can dictate our mood, our choices, and our fears about the future, specifically the risk of stroke. I understand that this can be a source of constant worry. It can feel like you're doing everything you're told, watching your salt, trying to eat right, but the numbers remain stubbornly high. It is a frustrating and often disheartening experience. But what if I told you that, for many, this struggle is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of the real problem? According to one of the nation's top cardiologists, the key to truly moving the needle on blood pressure and stroke risk isn't just about what you remove from your diet, but what you intentionally add. He believes there is a powerful, natural solution that most people are overlooking. Today, we are going to explore that solution. We will uncover the science behind the one fruit that can help flush out excess sodium from your system, and according to remarkable research, significantly lower your risk of having a stroke. To truly understand the solution, we must first correctly diagnose the problem, and this is where so many of us have been led astray. For decades, the advice has been simple: cut back on salt. We picture the salt shaker on the dinner table, and we diligently avoid it. But a leading cardiologist I've had the privilege of learning from often begins his consultations by telling patients that the most important salt shaker is not the one on their table, but the one in the food factory. The common misconception is that our personal salt use is the primary driver of our sodium intake. The clinical reality is that for the average American, over 75% of the sodium we consume comes from processed, packaged, and restaurant foods. It is hidden sodium, added long before the food ever reaches our kitchen. I want to share an anonymous story he once told me. It was about a patient, a gentleman in his late 60s. Let's call him Robert. Robert was meticulous. He never added salt to his meals. He read labels for sodium, but his blood pressure remained stubbornly, dangerously high. A simple dietary review revealed the culprit. His healthy diet included a daily canned soup for lunch, sliced deli turkey for sandwiches, and a popular store-bought pasta sauce for dinner. The salt he wasn't adding was a drop in the bucket compared to the massive amounts of sodium packed into these seemingly harmless everyday foods. And Robert's story is not unique. This cardiologist sees it every single day, and it's not just in obvious foods. This hidden sodium is in the bread we buy for our toast, in many breakfast cereals, in condiments, and even in some over-the-counter medications. The food industry uses it to enhance flavor and extend shelf life. It is everywhere. I know it can be unsettling to hear this. You may be thinking of your own pantry right now, feeling that you've been doing what you thought was right. And it's perfectly okay to feel a little frustrated or even angry. But what I want you to remember is that this is actually good news. It's good news because it means the problem isn't some vague, invisible force. It's identifiable. And if we can identify it, we can address it. Knowledge is power, and you've just taken a major step in understanding the true nature of the challenge. So if the real problem is this relentless influx of hidden sodium, what is the most powerful, evidence-based strategy we have to fight back? This brings us to the heart of our conversation. According to leading cardiologists and a mountain of research from institutions like the American Heart Association, our greatest ally is a mineral you may not be thinking nearly enough about: potassium. Think of potassium as your body's natural counterbalance to sodium. It performs two critical jobs that directly impact your blood pressure and heart health. The first job is to manage fluid balance. In simple terms, potassium tells your kidneys to flush out excess sodium. The more potassium you eat from whole foods, the more sodium you excrete through urine. It is a beautiful, natural system for keeping sodium levels in check. The second job is to help your blood vessels relax. Imagine your arteries and blood vessels as tiny, flexible hoses. A diet high in sodium makes these hoses tense and narrow, forcing your heart to work much harder to pump blood through them. That's high blood pressure. Potassium helps the smooth muscle cells in your blood vessel walls to relax and widen. This gives your blood more room to flow, which directly helps to lower the pressure within that system. Now, if you're just starting out on this journey, the idea of tracking potassium milligrams might seem overwhelming. So here is a simple rule of thumb from clinical experts. Don't focus on the numbers at first. Just focus on one simple action. Add one potassium-rich fruit or vegetable to your lunch and one to your dinner. That is it. Start there. The consistency of that small action is what builds momentum. Now, a common mistake people make when they learn about potassium is to immediately reach for a supplement. But leading health organizations and cardiologists strongly caution against this, unless it is specifically prescribed by your doctor. The reason is twofold. First, it can be dangerous for people with certain health conditions. Second, when you get potassium from whole foods, it comes packaged with other vital nutrients, like fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants, that all work together. The correct and safest way is to always focus on food first. I know that adding something new to your daily routine can feel like just one more thing on your plate, but I want you to reframe this in your mind. See this not as a chore, but as an act of profound empowerment. Every time you choose one of these foods, you are actively, consciously taking a step to protect your heart and your brain. So where do we find this powerful mineral? This brings us back to the promise I made at the beginning of our conversation. While we've titled this video around one fruit, the beautiful truth is that nature has provided us with an entire portfolio of options. Let's start with a surprisingly potent choice that many people overlook, the kiwi. According to detailed nutritional analysis, just 2 medium-sized kiwis can provide a remarkable 562 milligrams of potassium. And this isn't just about the numbers. Clinical studies have shown that eating 2 kiwis daily for several weeks can help lower both the top number, the systolic, and the bottom number, the diastolic, of your blood pressure. Another powerhouse is the pomegranate. Research shows that regularly consuming pomegranate, either as a fruit or as pure juice, can lead to meaningful drops in blood pressure. The effects are often strongest in people who start with higher readings. We're talking about average drops of 5 to 8 points in systolic pressure, a truly significant improvement for your heart health. But the options don't stop there. The goal is to build a diverse portfolio of potassium-rich foods into your life. The humble banana is a classic for a reason. The creamy avocado is not only rich in potassium, but also in heart-healthy fats and magnesium. Dried apricots are an incredibly concentrated source, with a half cup providing over 750 milligrams. Even simple things like tomato puree, white beans, and leafy greens like spinach are packed with this vital mineral. And let's not forget the simple baked potato with the skin on, which is one of the richest sources available. Now, a crucial question that a cardiologist always addresses, especially with patients over 60, is this: can you get too much potassium? And the answer is yes, for a specific group of people. If you have chronic kidney disease, your kidneys may not be able to effectively remove excess potassium from your blood. Also, if you are taking certain medications, like some potassium-sparing diuretics, ACE inhibitors, or angiotensin receptor blockers, your potassium levels can rise. This is why it is absolutely essential that you speak with your doctor before making any major dietary changes or ever considering a supplement. For the vast majority of people with healthy kidney function, getting potassium from food is perfectly safe and beneficial. But this is a conversation to have with your healthcare professional. It is a partnership. Please hear me on this. This warning is not meant to scare you. It is meant to empower you. Knowing when to consult your doctor is the hallmark of an informed, proactive patient. It's about working with your body and your medical team, not against them. This knowledge allows you to move forward with confidence. Let's just take a breath here and see how far we have come. We started by identifying the real source of our sodium problem. It's not the salt shaker, but the hidden sodium woven into our modern food supply. Then, we introduced our primary, evidence-based strategy for fighting back, the powerful mineral potassium, which actively flushes out that excess sodium and helps our blood vessels relax. It is so important to see how these are not separate ideas, but a connected system. Understanding the hidden sodium problem is what makes the strategy of adding potassium-rich foods so logical and effective. You're not just adding good things in, and the fact that you are still here, still listening and engaging with this information, tells me that you are serious about your health. You have invested nearly 20 minutes in your own well-being, and that is something to be genuinely proud of. But what if I told you that everything we've discussed so far, this entire system for managing blood pressure, is only part of the story? What if the very same mineral, potassium, has a much more direct, scientifically proven effect on protecting your brain from a stroke itself in ways that go beyond just blood pressure? A leading neurologist I spoke with calls this one of the most important, yet underappreciated, connections in preventive medicine, because lowering your stroke risk isn't just about a number on a cuff. It is about protecting your independence, your memories, your ability to communicate, and your capacity to live a full and vibrant life. And the science on this direct connection is truly remarkable. When we think about stroke, we often think of it as a sudden, unpredictable catastrophe. But a neurologist would tell you that for many people, the path to a stroke is not sudden at all. It is a path paved over years by factors like inflammation, arterial stiffness, and high blood pressure. And one of an individual's most powerful tools to change the trajectory of that path is diet. This isn't just a hopeful theory. It is backed by major large-scale scientific studies. A landmark meta-analysis, which is a powerful study that pools the results of many other studies, was published in the prestigious Journal of the American College of Cardiology. It looked at data from over 250,000 people, followed for years. The findings were stunning. A higher dietary potassium intake was associated with a 21% lower risk of stroke. Let that sink in for a moment. A 21% lower risk. That is a more powerful protective effect than many medications. The research further showed that this benefit was especially strong for ischemic stroke, which is the most common type, caused by a blockage in an artery supplying blood to the brain. While part of this incredible benefit is certainly due to potassium's blood pressure-lowering effects that we've already discussed, researchers believe it goes deeper. Potassium plays a role in maintaining the health and function of the entire cardiovascular system, including the delicate endothelium, which is the inner lining of our blood vessels. It helps create an internal environment that is simply less prone to the damage and blockages that lead to most strokes. Now, you won't feel your stroke risk dropping by 21% overnight. That is a long-term benefit built over time. But what you might notice in the first few weeks of intentionally increasing your potassium intake from whole foods is something much more subtle. You might feel a little less fatigued. You might notice less water retention or puffiness in your ankles or hands. Some people report experiencing fewer muscle cramps. These are small, quiet signs that your body's essential fluid and mineral balance is improving. These are the first steps on a very positive path. When you notice them, acknowledge them. They are proof that you are making a real, tangible difference. At the very beginning of our conversation, I promised to tell you about one fruit that flushes out sodium and lowers stroke risk. And we have talked about several incredible options, from the potent kiwi to the antioxidant-rich pomegranate. But the deepest lesson, the most profound insight that I have learned from the cardiologists and neurologists who dedicate their lives to this work, is this: a real magic is not in any one specific fruit. The true transformative power lies in the single, unifying principle behind all of these foods. The unifying principle is the simple, conscious shift from a diet of processed things to a diet of whole things. Think about it. When you build your diet around fruits, vegetables, beans, lentils, and lean proteins, what happens automatically, without you even having to think about it? Your potassium intake goes up. Your fiber intake goes up. Your intake of anti-inflammatory antioxidants goes up. And just as importantly, because you are naturally pushing out the packaged and processed foods, your hidden sodium intake plummets. You stop fighting an exhausting uphill battle against the modern food environment. You start working in harmony with your body's own brilliant design. You no longer have to obsessively count every milligram of sodium and potassium, because the pattern of eating whole foods naturally begins to optimize that crucial sodium to potassium ratio for you. This is the secret. The lasting transformation isn't about finding one magic bullet food to add to an unhealthy diet. It is about adopting one simple, powerful principle that makes everything else fall into place, almost effortlessly. So how do we put this powerful principle into practice, starting today, in a way that feels manageable and not overwhelming? Here's a simple, 3-step clinical action plan. Think of it as your starting point. Step 1. Identify and replace. For just 1 week, your only job is to be an observer. Notice the processed foods that are staples in your diet. Is it the canned soup, the deli meat, the frozen dinner, the sweetened breakfast cereal? Just notice without judgment. Then, pick one of them and find a whole food alternative. Instead of the canned soup, make a simple pot of lentil soup for the week. Instead of the deli meat, roast a chicken breast and slice it yourself. Just one swap. Step 2. Add one potassium powerhouse. Intentionally add one potassium-rich food to your day. It can be as simple as having a banana with your breakfast, adding half an avocado to your salad at lunch, or having a small baked sweet potato with your dinner. It does not have to be complicated. Step 3. Have the conversation. This is crucial. The next time you see your doctor or healthcare provider, talk to them about this. Ask them directly, given my personal health and any medications I'm on, is my kidney function healthy for a diet rich in potassium? This single question makes you an active, informed partner in your own care. And please, as you begin this, remember this above all else. This journey is about progress, not perfection. There will be days you eat the processed food. There will be birthday parties and holidays. That is okay. That is part of being human. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be gentle and consistent with yourself. You are unlearning decades of habits that have been shaped by our modern world. Be patient. You are not alone in this. and every single small step forward is a victory worth celebrating. Thank you for sharing your valuable time and attention with me today. It is a genuine privilege to be able to explore these important, life-changing topics together. Now, this is where our conversation continues. This is how we learn from one another. In the comments below, I would love for you to share an experience. What is the one processed food in your own diet that you have found most challenging to replace? Is it a specific snack, a convenient meal, or a favorite condiment? By sharing our real-world struggles, we can find solutions and offer support to each other as a community. Remember, knowledge is the first step, but compassionate action is what truly transforms our health. Be well and be good to yourself. If you found this conversation valuable, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more deep dives into your health. We will see you in the next video.